doing this, I guess a little background on this. There were some karaoke related plans,
Yes.
which we had this grand idea to do karaoke.
Mhm.
Uh, I guess that would have been last week. I don't know. The time is really starting to blur together for me right now. Um, and the week before, it seemed like a really good idea. We're gonna get a couple of people together. We were gonna support a small business. We were gonna support an Asian-owned business. We were super excited about it, and then it was just like day by day, it became less and less likely. Finally, we had to
Yeah.
stop it. But
Everything became less likely.
yeah, well, here we are trying this new thing out. Tell me a little bit about how life has been for you for the last couple of weeks.
Oh, well, honestly, it hasn't changed that much since I kind of normally am agoraphobic. Uh,
Yeah,
and last year I got like 12 sinus infections in a row just from not going anywhere. So I figured, okay, I'm definitely not going anywhere for this. And but I've been scared actually. I've been very emotionally disturbed from it more than it's affecting my life. Like I'm just really scared for everyone I know.
yeah.
And I've been like unable to eat a lot of the days, unable to sleep a lot of the time, and just kind of drawing, trying to feel better through drawing.
So you've been productive to some degree, it sounds like.
I would say I guess so, but it feels pretty bad.
Yeah. What do you do? How are you passing the time? I mean, I know you're both a musician and a cartoonist.
Oh, yeah, I just
What
been
is it?
drawing, just drawing,
Just drawing.
drawing and drawing and drawing and watching my favorite shows.
Is drawing a form of catharsis for you? Are you able to sort of channel some of these concerns through the work?
Definitely. I've definitely been, and I have had friends approach me. They have ideas for cartoons to commission, and the biggest thing that happened that I didn't predict was Bandcamp had this thing yesterday where or 2 days ago where they gave all the proceeds to the artist, and so many people, I don't want to brag, but so many people bought my record.
Yeah.
It was kind of like amazing, but it was scary because it's never been that many in a day.
Do you get a sense of why people were drawn to your work specifically? Do you feel like people were kind of maybe waiting
Yeah.
for a moment for the price to come down a little bit, or have people been talking about you a little bit more lately?
I think what happened was all these people on in social media started sharing their recommended albums, and I got put on some playlists too, and I think it all just kind of worked out for me. So, yeah, all these people bought my record, which was really cool, but also maybe they like my record right now because it's a little bit sad. It's very sad.
Yeah, well, I was looking at your site, and it looks like you had a show coming up on, I think, the
Yeah.
26th in Ridgewood, which is by where I'm actually located.
Oh,
I assume that the touring is kind of off the table right now.
yeah, that show actually was very fun, but we all did get a sense in the air that something bad was looming in the
Yeah.
world, and all the rest of the shows I canceled just because. Yeah.
Do you get a sense of how, what it might look like musically from you? I mean, as you said, you're channeling a lot of this through drawing right now.
Yeah.
But
Um,
now
yeah,
that we're doing this sort of this Zoom meeting, is this kind of format? Is this something that appeals to you, or
I
are
like it.
uploads? Yeah,
I like it. I don't like the reason for it, but I like it.
sure. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a good opportunity to kind of to connect with people a little bit more directly. You've also got Bandcamp. Do you get the sense that you might be releasing songs a little bit more directly through digital going forward?
Um, that's fine with me. And maybe yeah, definitely. I think so.
Yeah. I had a couple of requests. I'm a big fan of your latest record,
Thank you.
but one in particular I think would be a pretty good one to start off with, which is "Step Away," which I think is um, pretty appropriate in the current environment. Can you
Sure,
play that for us?
I'll play that. Sure. Step away from me now. I can't see you no more, 'cause there's not a thing that I can do I haven't done before. Step away from me, dear. It's so easy to see, 'cause anyone who's watching knows you're too beautiful for me. I got too close too fast, like I always do. I could see it coming, yes I could, couldn't you? And I tried to kill it, but got smacked in my face. Now I'm trembling and trying to get out of this place. Step away from me now. I can't see you no more, 'cause there's not a thing that I can do I haven't done before. Step away from me, dear. It's so easy to see, 'cause anyone who's watching knows you're too beautiful for me. I can't even look you in the eyes anymore. Every day you look much better than you once looked before. I've been out of control since I met you, but at least I'll admit it, like I always do. Step away from me now. I can't see you no more, 'cause there's not a thing that I can do I haven't done before. Step away from me, dear. It's so easy to see, 'cause anyone who's watching knows you're too beautiful for me. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Can you give us a little bit of background on that song? Obviously, it's a really personal one for you.
Oh, sure. I wrote that one basically. It's just about what it seems to be about. It was about a person I was, I guess you could say, courting at the time, and I
You
wanted
have
to.
to pronounce it like that, though. You have to say courting.
Oh, I think I did that because I watched a TV show where they did that, and it just I watched so much TV. I don't remember what show did that, but they did it in the show, and I thought it was funny.
Probably something very hoity-toity in English. It sounds like maybe
It was
something
like,
on the
oh, I
BBC.
think I remember what it was. I watch a lot of reality TV,
Oh,
and one of the children was talking to her mom, and
yeah.
she said, "Is anyone courting you?" And I thought it was so funny for a little kid to say that. So, that was I was doing that to a person who I actually wound up. Yeah, it was like one of those friendships that are a little too close.
Hmm.
So it was pretty much exactly what it says.
Yeah. Do you? I'm always curious about how songs kind of evolve for artists over time.
Mhm.
Now that you've recorded that and that's out in the world, do you feel like your relationship to that song specifically has changed at all?
I'm pretty sure, like for me, it's pretty easy to jump right back into character. So I just can pretty much envision exactly what the song was. Every time I play it, I just go right back there.
Yeah. Well, character is an interesting way of putting it. Again, it's a very personal song and it's
Right,
about
it is a
you.
character of me, but it
Yeah.
still might not be me right now, but it still is me.
So you get the sense that you've changed a fair amount since the song came out.
I guess I stopped writing so many love songs just because I figured there's other stuff to write about,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying I'm never gonna write another song about love again. So, I'm not opposed to singing about it because I think it's one of the biggest topics and one of the hardest topics to write about. So I guess after that period, I stopped writing so many love songs, but I might start writing them again. Who knows?
So you're obviously somebody who's not shied away from getting too personal on record. I mean,
Right.
are there lines that you feel like, maybe you've crossed on an album that in hindsight maybe you're less comfortable with now?
Sure. I definitely make little tweaks here and there, especially with that song. There was definitely a couple of lines that I've changed over the years just because I got cringy from them. I'm like, this isn't the best line. Uh, so yeah, definitely. That's the
I
best part.
Yeah, I mean, I get the sense, I many years ago, I dated a singer songwriter, and I guess there's just kind of like a tacit understanding that if you're in somebody's life and they're making art, then there's a decent chance that you might,
Yep.
end up on a page or on record.
Oh yeah.
Do you
How did that
feel,
feel for you?
well, it's funny. Well, it's a funny story now because it's been long enough, but the, I never appeared in one of her songs until after we broke up,
That's
which,
that's typical.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that says something about me or her, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's easier to write a breakup song than it is to write kind of a head over heels love song.
Definitely. I mean, it's emotionally easier because it's more of a memoir
Yeah. Yeah.
than this is happening now.
In a sense of a song like that, where it's very specifically about another person, do you feel the need to sort of obscure some stuff before it goes on the album?
Not really, because um, well, this person was a person I wound up being involved with for like 3 years,
Mm.
and we became like I made a band. I had a band, and this person was in the band, and then
Mhm.
there came a point where they said to me, "Can you just stop writing songs about me now? Like, come on, enough already. Like, just find something else." And
Yeah.
so, but looking back on it, no, I never, I never will shy away from writing anything just because of a person, because it's not like I'm Kim Kardashian. No one's looking me up. It's not this big deal. I'm just like a little songwriter in the world, so I might as well make the song lyrics true.
Sure. Yeah. I guess part of the reason why I ask, and this is something that comes up with autobiographical cartoonists as well, is,
Oh yeah.
you know, you certainly don't want to make the other person uncomfortable, and I think that
Well,
that's
that's
kind
true.
of
No,
the
I never
concern.
unless the person was horribly mean to me, I will not do anything that mean to them.
Have you ever written a spiteful song
Oh
about
yeah.
somebody who was mean to you?
Oh yeah.
Can you play me one?
Okay, sure. Sure. I'm so glad I met you. You helped me see just how very much I hate me. Now I know I've always been this way. Made a list of the things you used to say. I know it was also my fault too. I agreed to all you put me through. When you're in it, you can't see what's going on. Now I see that everything was wrong. People are toys to you. You play and play with one till you're bored and through. You may want it back when it's gone in a flu, 'cause people are toys to you. Every day you change your mind about me. You blame me for being unhappy. At first you liked me somewhere and I was shiny and new, like all the other ones you've done this to. You said you stayed 'cause you felt bad for me. Now sweet of you to call me charity, and maybe part of me did agree I deserved all your pity. People are toys to you. You'll play and play with one till you're bored and through. You may want it back when it's gone in the that.
That was great. I got the sense that even though it was a song about perhaps something somebody else did wrong, there's a little bit of it's still a bit self-effacing, right?
Oh yeah, I wanted to make it clear that it was, the expression "it takes two to tango."
Yeah,
Like even if someone is really bad, I stayed in the relationship. So
yeah, yeah.
that's a prickly pill to swallow, but it was true.
So why do you feel like you kind of are moving away from love songs or relationship songs at this point?
Oh, probably just because I wrote a lot of them, and also just because of that thing someone said to me. Can't you write about something else?
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, you're right. I can write about something else, and I should write about something else because not everyone's in a relationship, and it's enough already. Like there's so many love songs, and enough already. Because
So
I'm not always in the mood for a love song either to listen
take
to.
take me through that process of songwriting when, I guess it's one thing if you don't really set any sort of parameters and you allow yourself to be inspired by something and wait for something to come. But how does that change? How does the songwriting process change when you have a little bit of a stricter parameter, or at least something you absolutely don't want to write about?
Well, I think I didn't want to write about it just because I didn't want to listen to songs about it. So it was kind of easy not to write about it because I just didn't want to. So it wasn't as much as me being like, this is off limits as me just not wanting to, you know?
So we had you on the show a while back, and everybody who listened to that episode, knows a little bit about your history. But I'd love it if you can kind of take me through the
Oh, sure.
process of being a classically trained uh, jazz bassist to an acoustic guitar, piano, singer songwriter.
Wow. Well, yeah. I never really think about it, but I was thinking about it last night, just kind of
Hmm.
preparing because I love that you asked me about that. Uh, and I still do jazz. I still play jazz. But the thing I don't do so much anymore is classical music. And and I realized how much I was just not good at it, and how that was why I stopped doing it.
Hmm.
Like I didn't get it. It didn't come to me easily, and I worked really hard to be mediocre at it. And uh, I was just kind of really scared of that world. And it does share some similarities with the jazz world in the fact that it's a lot about um some of it is about how good you are on your instrument, which I can kind of deal with when it comes to the double bass, which is my instrument that I probably am the best at out of all the instruments I play. But there is that cutthroat aspect to it that freaks me out. The competitiveness I don't like. I don't really excel in that area of when
Yeah.
it gets competitive.
So, I mean, how much of your problems with, classical versus jazz was the community, and how much of it was just, flat out technical difficulty and an inability to play that style?
I think the community freaked me out, and also the amount it affected my nerves freaked me out. I was so nervous all the time, and I was on like all this anxiety medication just day to day. And I think if you're not emotionally stable, I think it's impossible. Like people say, oh, all artists are depressed. Artists are depressed, and it's good for your art. Well, there's levels of the way that's good for your art, but it's not good if you can't eat or sleep. Like that's not good for your art. So that really affected me, and so did the competitiveness and the way the cattiness I'd see in people, and they had to be catty because they're. I'm not blaming them for being catty, but I just like, what are they saying about me, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly get the sense that it's a lot of people kind of fighting over a pretty small slice of the pie at this point.
Exactly.
A lot of people who, went to school for it. Obviously, when you are trained in music, classical music is a big part of that. But I don't honestly, I don't know how many opportunities there are, even in New York, to be a working musician inside of the classical genre.
Exactly. Like, I understand why things are the way they are, but I also knew like a lot of mistakes I made were just because I was young and everyone else studying with the teacher I was lucky enough to study with was older than me. So I felt a little bit guilty. Like, why did she pick me to teach, you know, when I'm not good enough? And I didn't feel worthy. I felt like an imposter syndrome type thing.
Mm.
She didn't make me feel that way, but I did know that she was dumbing down her what she said to me. Like, I knew if she said great job, it meant good. If she said good, it meant okay. If she said okay, it meant I was horrible. Like, I had to translate her.
Yeah, she was being too nice to you for your
Yeah,
own good,
she
it
was being
sounds like.
too nice to me for my own good. So that was definitely another factor that freaked me out.
Yeah. How's the jazz community different in New York?
Well, the thing I will say that I love about the jazz world is it is very friendship oriented. Cause like you have to, even if you're having a rehearsal or a jam session, you call your friends. So I will say that I've had romantic experience in my life just because I'm a jazz musician, because it's an automatic dating pool, really.
Oh,
Like,
you mean actual romantic? You mean not in the
yeah,
sense of like
no,
romanticizing, but actually.
no, no, no. It's automatic hanging out, automatic meeting people, automatic everything. So
Yeah.
someone like me who's kind of shy in that area and gender confused can have a decent amount of experience romantically by the age of 28. So I will say that.
That's not that opportunity isn't really afforded to you in the classical community in the same
No
way.
way. No. No. In the classical community, there are some people dating, but everyone's really practicing.
I mean, do you get the sense that, being on the younger side and being, as you put it, gender confused, that those could potentially be issues in the kind of more buttoned down world of classical music?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I remember I wore a hat to one of my lessons, and it, and I actually have a friend now who was sitting in on that lesson. She was visiting in town from out of the country, and my teacher invited her to listen to my lesson. And her and I still laugh about how my teacher just went off on me for wearing a hat. Because, in the Philharmonic, you're not allowed to wear a hat, and
Yeah.
there's all this stigma around wearing hats. So
Well,
it was hilarious how she chewed me out for it.
I will say one thing about the jazz community versus the classical music
You can wear
community is
hats.
jazz people love hats.
They love hats.
Thelonious Monk, like one of the all-time great hat wearers.
Yeah, and I actually will say that I got rejected from a jazz college for wearing a hat to my audition.
Really?
Yeah. So, it that's the thing. I think jazz is becoming more like classical music through all the institutions.
Yeah. It sounds like the indie rock or indie folk or whatever you want to call it community has been a lot more welcoming.
Yeah, I think that community is, yeah, because you just got to be yourself,
Mm.
and that's pretty lucky for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are people who are about the photo shoots and that stuff, which I don't think I'll ever be into, but whatever. To each their own.
So take me through that process of, I think we were kind of butting up against it, but that process of, deciding that the classical and jazz communities weren't necessarily for you. How did you discover this other community? How did you start writing these songs in this style specifically?
Yeah, well, I think I definitely always wanted to write songs, but it was kind of like I was forcing myself to, and I was just forcing them out, and they were just kind of snippets of songs. They weren't really fully formed songs that I would feel okay performing. And I also didn't know how to sing, so those two things combined made it so that I was definitely doing it secretly. But I think the discovery of Elliott Smith's music is really what got me to write songs.
You felt like you couldn't sing, when did that change?
Well, I started taking vocal lessons from a really amazing singing teacher, because I was like, when you first start singing, you start copying other
Mhm.
singers, and you don't really know who you are, and she helped me find my voice, so to speak. So I got she caught me singing in my normal voice where I wasn't faking a voice, and she said, "That's your voice. That's it." And she helped me do it all the time, and I really owe her for that.
Yeah. I think it's time for another song
Okay, yeah.
if you're cool. Can I do another request?
Sure.
Can you play the Penguin song for me?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask. That's so nice. Nobody asked for that. Sure. I'm not in tune. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll vamp while you tune.
And you're feeling good?
Yeah, yeah. So far, so good. It's funny. I had what I think were seasonal allergies, and it's like at this point, at this point, if you get like the slightest cough or sneeze, you're like, all right, well, that's it. It's over.
That's it. Well, yeah, yesterday the pollen count was really high,
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
you know.
Okay. I was on a plane a couple of weeks ago too, and a woman in front of me sneezed, and I was I was ready to deboard the plane to get
So
you
scary.
know the inflatable slide on the way out.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh man, well, I'm glad you're feeling good.
Thank you.
My name is Pimba. I'm the littlest penguin. I get so chilly in the freezing cold snow. Of all the penguins, I am sometimes ignored. But I know what I know, what I know, what I know. I know what I know, what I know. I said I'm Pimba, so I guess now you know me. I'm from an iceberg at the edge of the sea. I have 9 brothers and 19 sisters. I am small, but that doesn't mean a thing. Not a thing. I am small, but that doesn't mean a thing. Hear my cry, hear my song. I am Pimba. I am Pimba. Hear me sing, hear it ring. I am Pimba, penguin of the sea. My name is Pimba, I'm the littlest penguin. I love to sing as I swim through the sea. I love to skate on the slippery ice, and I know what I know, what I know, what I know, and I know it is time for me to go.
I liked at the beginning you were excited that I asked for that one specifically. It sounds like that
Oh
one's got
yeah.
a special place in your heart.
Well, nobody asked for it, and one drummer I used to work with said, "I'm not playing that song with you." And also, I read this really mean review of me that was like, "And what's that penguin song? What is this, baby music, PBS Kids?" Like, so I like that that song's
Yeah.
created a little of a stir.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a baby song, but
I
is
don't
that
care.
that's not a bad thing, is it? It does.
I don't care.
Yeah, it is kind of a lullaby, It's a song about a penguin. It's a really gentle melody.
Yeah, I wrote it to annoy my friend. I was sitting on my bed with my friend, and I was doing imitations of different singers we knew
Yeah.
and types of songs they would write if they wrote songs. And that one just came out, and he started cracking up and saying, stop it, stop it. So I knew it had some sort of effect.
What singer were you trying to sound like on that one?
Oh, geez. Now that one might hurt. I might get.
Okay, that's okay.
What I will say is,
Yeah.
I was trying to do like a Rafi thing, and I love
Okay.
Rafi. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna spin that into a Rafi compliment rather than an
Yeah.
insult to a person you don't even know.
Yeah. Actually, you know who we were talking about on the show? I don't remember if it was actually on the show or before or after, but you mentioned Judy Sill to me
Oh
before,
yeah,
and
I love Rafi Sill.
I wasn't super familiar with her music, and she's got a very, and I think part of the reason why you brought her up is she's got a very specific kind of vocal style.
Mhm.
I can't really put my finger on it, but there's nobody who sings like her.
Exactly. It's just so great. I love her. I love her so much.
Yeah. What is it about her that really jumps out at you?
Um, I love that she kind of created a style of music. Like she called it Baroque country gospel cult music or something. I forget what she called it, but it's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I love everything about it. And I also love that she took a year to write a song. That's what she said. And that's kind of inspiring because sometimes I get stuck writing a song and I'm like, oh, Judy still took a year to write a song. So I'm not doing too bad.
So you don't really get frustrated and feel and kind of put stuff on the back burner or abandon things because it's taking so long?
I definitely do. But
Yeah.
that's why I'm lucky that I also do jazz and I also do cartoons because I can always jump to another thing. And that's why I think I recommend for everybody to do a bunch of things.
How much time do you spend playing jazz these days?
It depends on the week. I try to do it week by week rather than day by day. But I will try to devote a week to jazz, a week to drawing, a week to songs.
So it's so you kind of cluster one specific activity. You're not really
Yeah.
jumping from one thing to the other.
Well, in my dream, I can cluster, but I usually do jump a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Why do you feel like you need to kind of concentrate on something, one specific thing for an extended period of time?
oh, just so I could give it its full attention, because I think out of those three things that I try to do, the jazz part is the one I hide from a little bit the most, because that's the one that involves leaving my apartment. So I try to, because I love doing it. Once I start doing, it's like jumping into the pool. It's like
Yeah.
I don't want to go in the pool, and then once you're in the pool, you can't get out of the pool. So I kind of hide from it sometimes, but in the end, I love it.
Yeah, this is something I've been kind of trying to reconcile myself because I do consider myself to be. I mean, I'm not agoraphobic, but I am a bit of an introvert, and I am somebody who like can have trouble going to to parties
Oh, me
or
too.
or events where I don't know anybody.
Mhm.
Um, but how do you kind of reconcile the fact that you do have agoraphobia and it is difficult for you to leave the house, but
Right.
when you do, you're performing in front of a group of people?
Right. Well, that is like a great point. Um, yeah, I mean, it's that same thing. It's like once I'm at the gig or the show, I'm having fun. It's the getting to the show that
Mhm.
stresses me out. The train and all that stuff, and I've had some kind of hard experiences on the train before, as we all have. So, yeah, I think it's the getting there that stresses me out. But I just got new sneakers, so hopefully that'll inspire me to walk to the gig instead of take the train, once we're allowed to leave our houses.
Do you experience stage fright at all?
Actually, no, I'm really lucky about that because, I I I used to, but I witnessed a master class with this great cellist that
Mhm.
he said this thing that changed my life pretty much. I guess I should share that.
Yeah, yeah.
He
we
he
we could just like stop the broadcast there, but I feel like if this is a life-changing piece of information,
well,
or you could
yeah,
just tell people to subscribe to the master class, it's up to you.
yeah, I was watching Tim Eddy from the Orion String Quartet give a master class about Bach, and
Mm.
he said that it's not about you, it's about Bach. It's about the music. It's not you're just a vessel for the music to travel through. And then I realized it's not about me, it's about the music. Even if I wrote the song, like, who cares? They could. And then I just took that to meaning, like, if someone doesn't like my show, they can just leave.
Yeah.
So I'm not forcing them to be there unless they're like my friend who feels guilty to leave. So that's why whenever I play, I close my eyes so the audience feels comfortable leaving if they want.
It is different though, I mean, I guess in a sense you are still a vessel for your own music,
Right.
but it is different, right? It is different when you're the person who wrote the song. I mean,
Yeah, I just
if it
realized that part.
yeah, I mean, if it's good, or if it succeeds or it fails, it's kind of, for better or for worse, it's okay. Now you're a jazz musician. But it's a different experience, right? I mean, you're really, when you're up there playing Bach or when you're up there playing jazz, you're putting yourself on the line, obviously, but you're not putting yourself on the line in the same way when you're like, hey, here's a thing that I created that I want you to listen to.
Right, exactly. So that's why the song, I mean, it might be more scary to do a show of my songs, but I just figure they can leave. So whatever.
So you perform the entire show with your eyes closed?
Yeah. And if
Does
I open my eyes, it's because I forgot to close them. So then I close them right back quick in a hurry.
how does that impact the show for you?
It's great because I could just kind of get into a zone and just forget where I am, forget why I'm there, forget everything about except the music. And Leonard Bernstein once said, like, when he goes into a performance, he forgets everything once it ends. Like, he just goes into another world and
Yeah.
he's on drugs almost, like, it's kind of trippy. But that's what I do for definitely.
So it's the idea of kind of channeling something from outside of yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that, I assume when you play a jazz show or classical show, your eyes are open for the most part?
No, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's why I hated orchestra because I can't close my eyes. I have to read, but I would start memorizing the passages so I could close my eyes a little bit, but you're not supposed to do that. So I'm sure I'd get in trouble if anyone saw me. But with jazz, I close my eyes, and that some people I worked with over the years were like, "You have to look at me, look at me." I'm like, "No, I'm closing my eyes."
Yeah.
So that's been an issue.
Great. I'd like to do one more song, and I've been hogging them all up myself. So, dealer's choice on this one. Is there anything in
Sure, I'll do
particular
a
you'd like
new
to?
one.
Oh, fantastic.
When you told me goodbye, you did not even cry. Did you know all along that you would do me wrong? Plagued by a suicide, you used whiskey to hide. I asked you years ago till you stopped saying no. We'd get drunk every single night, heading home, stumbling arm in arm. When you turned off the light, there was a roach crawling on my arm. I'd wake up, my throat dry, dust would dance into my eye, with arms red as raw meat, from sleep scratching in the heat. I beg you not to leave, how will I ever believe anyone again? Strangers love or friends, did you keep your room so dirty I had the flu. Did you expect me to clean it like your mom must have done for you? Do do do, da dee dum, do do do, Stockholm syndrome. Do do do, la la lum, fi fo fum, Stockholm syndrome.
It's great. I thought you were done writing relationship songs.
Good point. I forgot. Well, that's a relationship, but not a love song.
Oh, okay. That's just interaction with another person song.
Well, it was a romantic relationship, but it wasn't a love song because I wasn't
Yeah.
saying I love you in it.
Yeah.
I'm saying Stockholm syndrome, which is when you're,
Yeah. It's not a happy relationship song by any stretch of the imagination.
And it also wasn't a love song. It was just the idea of the song was I loved the person for no reason. I was in the relationship because I was accustomed to it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Sometimes you just sometimes it feels easier to stay in a bad relationship than it does to leave.
Exactly.
It's kind of like being agoraphobic in a sense, right? Of just like, you don't know why it's so difficult to sort of take that first step, but that first step just feels completely impossible.
Exactly.
Great. Well, Joanna, thanks so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, it's always fun talking with you. Can you plug your stuff? Tell us where people can check you out.
Well, I have a record on Bandcamp, ha ha ha, and I have a website, which is my name, and I have Instagram and Facebook, which are both my name, and I have Twitter now, which is my name.
People can check out your artwork in addition to your music.
Yeah, that's on Instagram and my website, and I have a Facebook page for that, and I also have Spotify and iTunes and all that.
All of the major streaming and internet platforms.
Yeah.
All right, Joanna Sternberg, thanks so much for taking the time. Have a good night.
Brian, have
Bye.
a good night. Stay safe, everybody. Bye.